March 5th, 2026. This is the S&P 500 futures mini on a 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. What's the chart look like today? It's another high volume day. The only economic data that came out was around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is about right here. And this big gray down channel I drew didn't really come into play. I mean, you could already tell it's kind of as a bearish sell-off. There was a lot of measured moves that kind of completed nicely. And although there's a lot of movement, I found some setups, and then there's areas like this area in particular. I call it kind of like a zone of almost, because there were a lot of almost setups in here, a lot of tempting setups, but I just couldn't pull the trigger because something fell short that said, it doesn't quite meet the threshold for me to pull the trigger, even, but it just seemed like they would work, and they turned out to work. So I don't know if that's an intuition thing or it was just kind of dumb luck, me seeing it and thinking that way. So I did take 2 trades today, and they're both profitable. I'm gonna get into the setups right now. Well, the pre-market looks like it was a push down break, tested low. I thought that was a second entry short. Looked like a pretty nice, clean second entry short right here. But this is the pre-market. If this happened in the regular trading hours, then perhaps there would have been a setup. Regular orange down channel makes 3 pushes to the low. I guess you could argue for a 4th push. And then reverses all the way back up on this green up channel. Break. I thought there was a lower high here. Excuse me. And although I guess you could mark it, this is also in the pre-market, so not only is it lower high, it's a failed second entry long. But again, this is in the pre-market, so I wouldn't have, I did not trade this. There's a break of the green, made 2 attempts up, and it started to reverse back down. Pushes down, kind of gets choppy. Pushes down on this purple down channel initially, then it looks like it might have widened to this yellow down channel. Hits the localized low, and then starts pushing into the open. So on the open, there's already a second entry short here by the technical counts. First entry short, second entry short, because this is technically a second entry short. And then it kind of pushes back up and out. Looks like it was moving up this red up channel. It's a shallow, I don't know if you can call it a spike, but it's a shallow channel. Then it actually transitions to what looks like a more clear green up channel. Break of the green up channel makes 1 attempt, makes a second attempt, and a flush back down. Sets up an almost trade. Now, I wasn't sure if this was actually the high of the range, in which case you could argue there's a potential triple test. It doesn't quite touch here, but you could say it's pretty much making 3 attempts up in a reversal. It's a failed second entry long, but I call it an almost trade because I wasn't too sure if this was the high of the range, because this double top also looked pretty nice, so I left it alone. Push this orange down channel break, test the low, localized low, first entry short pullback, second entry short. This is a true triple test and a second entry short. I just didn't like the signal bar, which kind of closed right at the EMA. Normally that wouldn't be too bad, except it's also a very neutral bar, so I left it alone. And I think throughout the day I found a lot of these almost setups that were, for all intents, almost there, but either the context was wrong or the signal bar was wrong that made me extra cautious. Today was also a lot of measured moves were completed, so it looks like it's 1 leg, 2 small legs up, and then a second leg down. It's a localized low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. You can say it's a third entry short, but it broke and made a new high. There is multiple tests off here, but I couldn't justify taking a trade. So it's, in my book, an almost trade again, because EMA, it's a little bit, not ambiguous, but it's not helpful. But I wasn't 100% sure I was at the top of the range. So just taking it purely off a multiple test didn't feel like a good enough setup. If this is a multiple test and it was a second entry short, but here you can already tell it's like a third entry, already broke to the new high. It just made me a little extra cautious. Pushes down. I established this red up channel, or at least this red trend line support, and I kind of created to see if it would become a channel. But there was a break, an overshoot, and it dwelled for quite a bit. Then it came back down and broke through the low side. So that kind of made me feel like this channel itself wasn't really that helpful, but it did follow this orange down channel pretty nicely. So it hits a localized low. It's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. Second entry short's confirmed by this candle, but this signal bar is terrible, and then the follow through trigger bar isn't very encouraging either because you can tell this stem is bigger than the body. So buyers did push it all the way back up. So when you see this in real time, you have no idea this candle is going to show up. So when it does push down, I'm looking for a lower high now. And technically, you don't have a clean lower high until you get to maybe here. Now, also, it's far from the EMA, but it did follow nicely in this orange down channel. So unfortunately, there was no setup or no way for me, no way that I found a way to enter. Break of this orange down channel, test low, so you only get a first entry, another first entry all the way down to here. And at one time I thought maybe if I widen the channel to, let's say, this red one, it seems to fit pretty well, but it didn't really, as prices kept moving, it didn't really amount to anything because there was a break. There was no more attempt to test the low here, but it looked like it made and completed a measured move. So it's one leg down right to here, and then start the second leg. It's pretty close to making a measured move. So I wasn't sure if it was going to continue to try to press for that. But in this case, as prices moved up to here, I kind of thought, okay, it's completed, or sellers have thought they've already done the best to get it down to this measured move. So localized low, say first entry short pullback, second entry short, you can count reset right here because this is a kind of a swing low. There's another first entry short, second entry short, but then it kind of keeps going back up. I do establish this green up channel, which was start off as a trend line, and it looked like it fit pretty well here until there was a break here. So it's like a first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long here. It's an inside bar. It is bouncing off the EMA. It is bouncing off this green up channel support. But with this failed breakout, I was thinking there could be a failed breakout on this side. It wasn't until later that I thought maybe it could have been something up higher here. I just didn't like it up here because there's only one touch right now. Whereas down here, you do clearly have, depending on how you drew it, probably 1, 2 touches. You can maybe argue for a third if you discounted the small little breaks here, but I said, oh, I thought there was going to be a higher probability of maybe a breakout through here. So then I was thinking, if this is a second entry long, I want a higher low. Get a higher low here, but it's a wrong signal bar color. This is localized low, and it becomes a first entry short pullback, second entry short. I thought this failed second entry short because it fails on this candle is actually a possible trade. It is bouncing off this green channel support, bouncing off the EMA. It did tick higher than this. There's enough room to the high side. This failed breakout failed to break out on this side. Then it tried to do it again and it failed. And it tried kind of like a third time. So I'm thinking this failed breakout may not have been a failed breakout. So at one time I was thinking maybe it's actually up here, and I'll get a confirmation later. This could be the first failed breakout if we move back into the green. So that kind of made me think this is possible to trade. I just didn't like that it also pulled back slightly. If this closed at the high, I would have tried to have gotten an order ready, but I wasn't too sure. Felt it was a little aggressive for me, but a possible trade. The prices move up. Break of this green up channel moves down on this orange. Looks like it's one attempt. Well, it looks like it's just one big attempt. It fails to get back into the green up channel, and it starts reversing. It starts reversing. You do have a first entry long, but now, until this kind of formed all the way down to here, I wasn't 100% sure I was in the correct channel. And by then, I wasn't necessarily mentally ready to take a long yet because it looks like such a strong push down. I wasn't thinking of going long because it felt like I would pick the bottom. This measured move is officially achieved right here now from this first leg. So it's one leg down, a bunch of things happened, and the second leg down. Didn't mean to do that. There you go. So it hits the low, creates a first entry short, pullback. This candle here creates your second entry short because you see it's from low, breaks below, run this candle. This pushes up, and in the same candle, it creates a hidden second entry short. And as it goes down, it gives you a lower high. Also saw this as a new high, localized high. First entry long pullback, second entry long here was about to fail. So when you see this in real time, and when I saw this in real time, I thought there's probably some momentum to push down to potentially test the low of this orange down channel, even though it did meet the measured move, this could be a second attempt or just an attempt to touch the low, test the low of this orange down channel. So I entered right at the low of this candle because I like that it engulfed this guy. Entered. I do have enough room for a 6 tick scalp, so that's what I was going for. Push this down, I got my 6 ticks. No runner, because in all honesty, I didn't think a runner was going to happen because it already kind of made the measured move. It's kind of stalling out right here. So why risk one of my contracts being break even when I could just take the whole position off? At least that's the way I was thinking. Then price is reverse shortly or briefly, almost touches the EMA, then it pushes back down. It's holding the support. So I'm thinking this could see a potential reversal now. Our price is going to move back up. Keep in mind, this gray down channel doesn't exist yet, so nothing, this shows up later. So it starts looking like it's bouncing. You have a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short, and a second entry short's about to fail, but I'm cautious buying into this EMA. Of course, you don't know, I don't know that this is going to happen, which is up. Starts chopping sideways. I'm thinking I'm in this range, so I drew this range with the highs here because it looks like it fits pretty well. At least 2-touch confirmation, 3-touch confirmation on low side, but it doesn't come back down. It starts going back upwards. So then I drew this yellow up channel. It fits pretty nicely. I'm gonna fast forward. This is what I call the zone of almost. There's just very nice organized confirmations on the low side and confirmations on the high side. Now, this doesn't happen very often, but in order for me to trust this, because in real time, I'm thinking at any time it could break out on either side. Of course, you don't know it's going to do this. So I was looking for second entries. So it's here you have this is pretty early in the channel. So I would be more cautious here. It is a first entry long. Technically, you could count as a second entry here. I saw it as a visual first entry, pull back, potential second entry. I just didn't like that this is an inside bar. It was starting to bounce off this trend line. So I had to skip this. Pushes up. You get another first entry, and that's all you get. Then you get another first entry. But just looking back in hindsight, it's just like this looked very, although choppy, very clean for prices moving inside this yellow up channel. Pushes to the high side, break, makes kind of a double top and reverses, break of this orange, tests the low, creates the localized low, creates a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. This is also a localized high. So I start the count from here. Say first entry long, pullback, second entry long is about to fail after this candle. So it technically fails and then it gives you a lower high. Call an almost trade because I wanted an EMA rejection. This break of this orange down channel just tested the low. So I wasn't necessarily confident that prices are going to continue downwards because in real time, this is what I see. Fail breakout on this side, fail breakout on this side. Our price is going to move back up to try to test or move back into the yellow up channel. I'm not sure. So this is kind of an almost trade. It doesn't feel that attractive to try to short from the low of this candle to try to get out before here. There is enough room for a 6-tick scalp, but I just didn't feel super confident on that setup. Of course, I didn't expect it to do this. Pushes down. It looks like it was 2 legs down in this real time. It looked like it made a measured move, 1 leg pullback, second leg. So here also was a doubt in my mind of it made the measure move. Is it really going to come back down here? Or is it going to reverse and try to test the highs or extreme of this, even though it had a fail breakout here? This is a little ambiguous. Pushes down, break of the green down channel, test low. Is also looking like it was sideways. Then it moves down a second leg. Second leg's far from the EMA. No clear setups that I like. It's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback. You have a second entry short, pushes down, and then they give you a lower high. I thought this is actually a possible trade. And I actually had this tighter initially. So I'm thinking, okay, break of this orange down channel, pushes up, break of the green up channel is test the high. Here I was thinking this big measured leg has happened, push down, kind of gets choppy, makes a second leg down, move sideways. Now it looks like it's 1 leg pullback. Is there a second leg to try to meet this measured leg on this blue line? Although the orange has tested low, green has also tested low. EMA is acting pretty much like kind of a bearish resistance area. So I saw this. I saw this lower high and I thought there might be a possible trade here. It's a decent signal bar. It engulfed the 3 previous bars too. So this, in this case, it would have worked. Prices moved down. When it broke out and it kept going, that's where I expanded this channel to about right here. There will be no break on the low side. Since moved slightly, I'm going to go ahead and adjust it. NinjaTrader does that sometimes. So it gets to the low, break, moves up, comes back down, tests the low. So I'm thinking this down channel has played out. These two measured legs, this green one and then this orange one, composed of these two smaller orange ones, has made the measured move. So break here, test the low. I'm thinking prices might have a small correction. Starts moving up. You do have a higher low here, but it just felt not quite set up yet. So first entry short, second entry short, potential failure, but I don't like that it's riding right against the EMA. If this second entry short fails, I'm looking for a higher low above the EMA with a green bodied candle. So this one is actually inside of this, and now I'm just extra cautious. Starts pressing down. So I'm not certain it's actually going to break above the EMA now. So there's no trade long now, and it's just sitting and waiting on my hands. It gets pretty congested here, and it starts moving up this yellow up channel. Yellow up channel initially was tighter because I actually started here. And then when it broke above and dwelled for a while and it kept going up, that's where I extended or widened the channel to about right here. But unfortunately, no setup occurs for me. Pushes down to this orange down channel, break, test the low. It's the localized low. This range was a number of different support lines that I had because initially it was a little bit higher, something here, and then it broke below and it kept going. And it also had some resistance lines up here. I had this one treated as a failure, a failed breakout. And I came up to about right here. It's a failed breakout here. It looks pretty nice. Just go ahead and label this. And then this broke out here. Later, it just evolved into this purple one. So let me do that. Okay, so it's a break of this green up channel, test the high. This was in the zone of one of my resistance lines. I took it from the highs here and cut it across. Saw this as a potential failed breakout, but there's also a clear-cut first entry short pullback, second entry short. The second entry short in real time, I didn't trust yet because I don't know for certain this is my range. So I left this one alone. It's a decent signal bar. I liked it far from the EMA. And then I saw this, and I thought this is actually a possible setup. It is a lower high, decent signal bar, closing back within the range, whether I had it at this higher blue one, which I'll just make old blue, or where it eventually ended up. It looks like it's moving back down. So I thought this was a possible trade. No one knew, especially me, that this was going to happen. It flushes down. I was very slow on the trigger because I saw this. I was thinking, is there a trade here? It opens and it starts flushing down. It moves down, I think, the 6 ticks that my profit target would have been before I even got my order ready. So after I saw that, then I just thought, okay, I probably missed a trade because as it was oscillating, I don't want it to reverse back up and hit my stop up here. So not even a mistrade because I was just too slow for this. There's a second entry long potential here. I have an arrow, but if this is the high side of the range, it looks like it wants to come back down to the low side. So although I saw it in real time, I quickly quashed the temptation to try to take a trade. And I'm glad I did because it closes terribly. And the context wasn't the best. Pushes down, hits the low side. That's where I established that this is probably the range. So I was playing with this as a range at this point now. It's a localized low. It's a first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short. I saw this and I thought, is it probably going to move down? Because the break of the green has tested the high. This is a really nice signal bar. It's a first entry short, nice clean second entry short. EMA isn't really a factor right now because it's not reliable. But what kept me out of taking this trade is, although it tested the high, I was thinking it could oscillate maybe a couple more candles and then continue pushing up to the high side of the range because it looks like it's just range bound right now. So I'm glad I did because it felt like it would have been a trap. Because if I entered at the lows here, I'd have to sit through this. Now, whether I was going for 1 or 6 ticks, I probably would have gotten out here. But if I didn't, or my entry was poor, this candle likely would have stopped me out. So why sit through this ambiguity if I could avoid it? It chops around, it just gets noisy and congested. It starts moving up what I think is a shallow yellow up channel. It hits the high side. So as it does and it reverses back down, I'm more confident that this price action is following inside this purple range now. So it looks like prices move down and now it's consolidating. If it moves back up to try to push back higher or continue downwards, I'm not sure. This gray down channel I have established, but it was actually transparent. See, it's like this with the red dotted lines because it looks like 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. But this high side is not useful at all because prices aren't even coming up to here. So this being existing here doesn't help. And on the low side, this 1 touch, there's a small break, and then it doesn't really confirm that well here. So this channel, other than telling you that prices are probably drifting downwards, isn't that useful because you could already tell that from this this overall bias. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it because it ends up not being that useful. So as prices are going, it hits the high side, it starts moving down. I'm expecting prices to go to the low side now. You have a first entry long pullback. You technically have a second entry long here, but it's a terrible signal bar. You do have a lower high here, but these candles are getting a little bit big for my comfort. Hits the low side. I'm expecting a bounce reaction here, the potential fail breakout. It creates a higher low here, and it actually sets up for my second trade. So it's a break of this orange down channel, makes one attempt down. It starts reversing. So initially I thought, could this be a breakout pullback? Could it be breaking here and create a second leg down the size of this, pushing down? But it pushes down and it starts reversing. This engulfed this bar and technically this bar. And then when it created this new low, first entry short, second entry short, the way this closed and pushed up strongly, I like this setup. I was thinking this failed breakout could have been corresponding to this failed breakout earlier, and prices might be moving back up to the high side. This is a really encouraging, in my opinion, strong signal bar, close the high. I enter at the high. My stop is actually below this guy. It's a little riskier. I think I actually kept it right at the a little bit 1 or 2 ticks below, just to think this is the bounce point. I did have to sit through this, and it pushes up, gives me my 6 tick scalp, but I didn't take, well, I took a little bit of heat, but it never got close to my stop, so I was okay with this one. No runner, pushes up. It gives you a higher low here. It's a break of this green up channel to test the high, but I also like that it bounced, even though the EMA isn't really that reliable. It does give you a lower high. I like that this candle engulfed the 3 previous candles. The only way this would have been even better is if it closed at the high right up here instead of pulling back. Pushes up, almost touches the high. Now it fails. So one of two things. I'm thinking sellers are more in control now because there's a fail breakout here, and their buyers are failing to bring it back to the high side. Or my range could actually be slightly lower. But when I did it, when I drew it slightly lower, I wasn't that keen on this much price action sitting outside and another breakout here, whereas previously I could have had fewer breakouts. It looks a little bit cleaner, like it's encapsulating all of this a little bit better, all for the sake of trying to have this range touch this. It wasn't worth it. So I just kind of read it as it was and thinking, okay, I'm not so sure it's going to come back up here now. Bounces. You have a second entry short here, new low, first entry short, second entry short, inside bar. It's just kind of in the middle of nowhere. This inside bar to this bar is inside to this one. Gets a little choppy, starts reversing back up because it creates another fail breakout. Chops. You have a second entry long here. Localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. This yellow up channel doesn't get drawn until later. It's kind of, I think I had it earlier like that. As it pushes up, hits the high side, so it has decent confirmation of the high side. Low side looks a little iffy because you have breakout here, another breakout here, another breakout here. But a more shallow channel, trying to get all these touches, makes the high side not fit well. Because if I try to get the high side here, I really only have 1 touch and not a second touch. So I kind of left it as this yellow up channel. No clean second entries. Just kind of keeps pressing up, breaks to the high side. You have a second entry long here, so localized double top. First entry long pullback, second entry long. Unfortunately, broke below the EMA. Then it's followed through by a doji. And I thought I might have been in this orange down channel. You do have a higher low here, but by the time this higher low shows up, I'm not convinced that this fail breakout won't have an attempt to create another fail breakout down here. The other thing taking away from me initiating a trade is I'm already profitable with 2 trades for the day. It's late in the day, and taking all that into account, with this getting choppy, I factored in that potentially I'm mentally exhausted. I'm not seeing things as well. So why risk taking a trade here when I'm already profitable for the day? So then prices continue moving up. EMA is starting to hold, but then breaks down. This bounce here coincidentally lines up with this orange up channel, but this orange up channel, as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of, and it's already getting close to the end of the day. It pushes up and into the close. So it was a high volume day. It looked like it was just very choppy, multiple swing legs down with a consolidation, and then a late rally. Well, late small rally pushed into the close. So pretty happy that I got the 2 trades. I'm back. I recovered the losses from my poor trade a few days ago, and that's pretty good, but I'm just like right about green. So I just be extra cautious because I don't want to have to dig myself out of the hole again. So hopefully that was helpful.